I never thought I'd have a story like this, but if I'm being honest, it's one of the most humiliating nights of my life. And it happened on what was supposed to be a celebration of love, our wedding anniversary. My wife and I had been married for 5 years. Life had its ups and downs, but I thought we were solid. We shared a home, had routines, bills, responsibilities, and a small group of friends. I thought we respected each other. I truly did. For our anniversary, I made reservations at one of the finest restaurants in the city. I picked a table with a view of the skyline, arranged for flowers, and even had a small surprise dessert planned. I wanted the night to feel special, intimate, just the two of us. When we arrived, everything seemed normal at first. She was dressed elegantly, smiling, complimenting me, and chatting casually as we walked in. I was in a good mood, excited to celebrate us. Then she introduced me to him, a man I didn't know, dressed in a sharp suit, standing confidently beside her. She took my hand, smiled at the waiter, and said, loud enough for the man to hear, "From now on, this is the man I've been seeing. Happy anniversary, darling." The restaurant went silent. The waiter froze. The other diners glanced over and my stomach sank. I couldn't speak. I felt my heart pounding, my face heating, my mind racing. She laughed lightly, as if this were all part of some elaborate joke. And the man beside her smiled, extended his hand, and said casually, "Nice to meet you." I wanted to collapse. I wanted to shout, to throw my glass across the table, to demand answers. But instead, I sat there, stunned, unable to process what had just happened. She continued, her voice cheerful. "I thought it would be fun to make this anniversary memorable. You know, a little twist. Life's too short to be predictable, don't you agree?" I couldn't believe it. My wife, the woman I had trusted, the person I thought loved me, had planned a public humiliation for me on our anniversary. She had no regard for my feelings, my dignity, or the sanctity of the night. I excused myself to the restroom to regain composure. I could hear her laughter from the table, hear the low murmur of the other diners trying to process what had just happened. Every step I took, my mind replayed her words, the smirk on her face, the casual way she had brought another man to a celebration of our love. When I returned, she didn't apologize. She didn't even acknowledge the hurt she had caused. She treated it as normal, as fun, as if the humiliation was somehow part of the entertainment. I confronted her quietly, leaning close and trying to control my voice. "Why did you do this? This wasn't funny. You humiliated me," she shrugged. "Oh, come on. You need to lighten up. I just wanted to make the night memorable." "Everyone's laughing. Don't be such a killjoy." I realized then that this wasn't about humor. This was about control, about showing power, about making me feel small in front of others. She wanted to assert dominance, and she chose our anniversary as the stage. The next few weeks were a blur of anger, confusion, and disbelief. I tried to discuss the marriage with her, but every attempt was met with dismissive laughter, gaslighting, and casual disregard for my feelings. She would say things like, "You're too serious. You need to learn to have fun." I was just trying to spice things up. "Stop overreacting. Why are you letting a little surprise ruin your mood?" I realized then that she had no respect for me. She didn't value our commitment. She treated love as a performance, as a tool for her amusement, and I was the unwilling audience. Eventually, I made the difficult decision to separate. It wasn't just the anniversary incident. It was the culmination of years of subtle humiliations, dismissals, and a fundamental lack of care for my feelings. That night crystallized everything I had ignored for so long. After moving out, I spent months processing the trauma, leaning on friends, and rebuilding my sense of self-worth. The humiliation had been public, but the healing process was private. I learned to recognize red flags, to set boundaries, and to prioritize relationships built on respect and empathy. Now, whenever I think of that anniversary, I feel a mix of anger and gratitude. Anger at the betrayal, the cruelty, and the audacity. Gratitude that I realized the truth before investing more years in a relationship that had no foundation of respect or love.